Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most unforgettable moments in sports history. A single event that completely overshadowed the biggest game in football. We're talking about the 2006 World Cup Final, a true story of glory and absolute madness. Just look at this. This is the moment right here. It's the final match of Zinedine Zidane's legendary career. We're talking one of the greatest to ever play the game. And what happens? He turns and headbutts Italy's Marco Materazzi. I mean, this image is burned into the memory of every football fan on the planet. But to really get a grip on what's happening here, we have to rewind a bit.
So the big question is, how? How does a player this great in his final game on the world's biggest stage end his career like this? How does a storybook ending just completely fall apart? Well, to understand the headbutt, you've got to understand the insane pressure of that day. You got to look at what was on the line for both France and Italy and a personal rivalry that was about to boil over.
Okay, so let's start with the legend himself. This wasn't just another game for Zinedine Zidane. He'd already announced he was retiring. This was it, the last match. It was supposed to be his triumphant farewell, his chance to go out on top by winning a second World Cup, a perfect ending to an incredible career. And the setting? I mean, come on. It doesn't get any bigger. We're in Berlin's Olympus Stadium. You've got almost 70,000 fans packed in, absolutely electric. But get this, the real audience is the entire world. Over 700 million people are tuned in. Can you even imagine the pressure on these players? It's just immense.
Now, let's talk about the two teams who made it to the final. Because Italy and France didn't just show up to play a game. Nope. They were both carrying the weight of their nations on their shoulders, but for completely different reasons. And the contrast is really pretty incredible when you look at it. On one side, you have Italy. Their domestic league was in the middle of a massive, embarrassing match-fixing scandal. So for them, this wasn't just about winning a cup. It was about restoring their country's pride. Then you've got France. Honestly, no one really expected them to get this far. They were kind of the underdogs. But with Zidane leading the charge in his last tournament, they just caught fire. This was all about giving their legend the perfect goodbye. So the game kicks off, and right away, it's clear this isn't just Italy versus France. It very, very quickly turns into a showdown between two guys, Zinedine Zidane and Marco Materazzi. And things heat up fast. We're only 7 minutes in when France's Florent Malouda gets taken down in the box. The ref doesn't hesitate. He points right to the penalty spot. Big, big moment. So who steps up to take it? Zidane, of course. And in this moment, with all the pressure in the world on his shoulders, he doesn't just slam it home. No way. He pulls off a panenka. It's this incredibly cheeky, delicate chip right down the middle. It floats up, kisses the crossbar, and drops just over the line. It's just pure genius, pure nerve. France is up 1-0. But you're not going to rattle Italy that easily. They're not going anywhere. Just 12 minutes later, they get a corner kick, a chance to answer right back. And guess who scores for Italy? You guessed it, Marco Materazzi, the other guy. He just soars above everyone else and smashes a header into the back of the net. And just like that, it's 1-1. The only two goal scorers in the World Cup final are the two guys whose paths are about to cross in a very, very different way. So the game stays locked at 1-1. The clock ticks away, we go through the whole second half. Nothing. The match drags into extra time, 30 grueling minutes. You can just feel the exhaustion. The tension is just suffocating. You know something has to happen. Something has to break. And then we get there, the 11th minute. We are just 10 minutes away from the nail-biting agony of a penalty shootout. The whole world is watching, waiting for a hero to emerge. But that's not what they got. Not at all. Okay, so the play is somewhere else on the field. Off the ball, we see Zidane and Materazzi jawing at each other. Zidane starts to jog away, looks like it's over, but then he just stops, dead in his tracks. He turns around, walks back, and drives his head straight into Materazzi's chest. Materazzi goes down like a ton of bricks. The referee consults his linesman, and out comes the red card. Just like that, Zinedine Zidane's legendary career is over. So for years, everyone was wondering what on earth did Materazzi say to him? Well, eventually Materazzi came out and confirmed the exact words. Apparently, Zidane sarcastically offered him his jersey after the game, and Materazzi shot back with that incredibly personal insult about his sister. It was the verbal match that lit the fuse.
And looking back, maybe we should have seen a hint of this coming. This wasn't a one-off. It was Zidane's 14th career red card. It's a reminder that underneath all that incredible skill and elegance, there was this fiery temper. He's also one of only a couple players ever to be sent off in 2 different World Cups. So yeah, his last ever act as a professional footballer was that long, lonely walk off the field, leaving his team in the lurch. So France is completely stunned. They're now without their captain, their leader, their best player for the last 10 minutes. They managed to hold on, but really, at that point, it felt inevitable. The game was heading to the ultimate test of nerve, a penalty shootout.
And in the shootout, Italy was just flawless, one after another. Pirlo, Materazzi, De Rossi, Del Piero, Grosso, they all buried their shots. But for France, David Trezeguet stepped up, his shot cannoned off the crossbar and bounced out. That was it. That one miss was all it took. Italy were the world champions. And these 2 images right here just tell the whole story, don't they? On the left, you have pure Italian joy, a nation's honor restored. On the right, you have France's pain, personified by the lonely, shocking exit of their greatest hero. It really is the perfect picture of glory and madness, side by side.
You'd think that would be the end of the story, but the aftermath was just as weird. Get this, even after getting sent off like that, Zidane was still voted the best player of the tournament and given the golden ball. FIFA ended up fining both him and Materazzi. But the most surprising part? The French public. Over 60% of them forgave him almost immediately. That just shows you what a godlike figure he was in France. And this whole thing just transcended sports. It completely exploded into pop culture. There was a #1 hit song in France about it called Coup de Boule, which literally just means headbutt. It got parodied in shows like The Simpsons and Family Guy, became a million internet memes, and they even made a giant bronze statue of the moment and put it up in Paris. You can't make this stuff up. So what did Zidane himself have to say about it all years later? Any regrets? Absolutely not. He was completely unapologetic. He even said he would rather die than apologize to Materazzi. In his mind, what was said was so awful that his reaction, while not right, was justified.
And that's where we're left, with this question that still hangs over the whole event. Was it a complete moment of madness? A great player finally cracking under unimaginable pressure? Or was it a deeply human and maybe even understandable reaction to a truly vile insult? There's no simple answer. And your opinion on that single bizarre moment, well, that kind of defines how you remember the entire 2006 World Cup.